Hello, Targ, our friends. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it is time for another Orc Mode workout, and today was Dynamic Effort Upper Day. But a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. Get over to the speed benching. I'm just doing all close grip. I did 8 triples. First couple sets, I had to get in my groove to get the speed down, but it got pretty good as I went along. I increased weight a little bit over what I've been doing as far as bar weight, even when I was doing the varied grip. Now, I have said that I am going to do close grip. All that work doing wide grip didn't do much for me. I've always been stronger close grip. And even after months and months of wider grip benching, I was still weaker than my close grip. And now my close grip has probably regressed a bit, so we're going to build it back up, and I know how to build a close grip. Now, that being said, because close grip will build your wide grip, doesn't mean I'm not going to mess with a little bit of wide grip here and there. In fact, I might alternate some of my max effort weeks every other week of doing some rep work really wide instead of close grip. And when I say wide, we go all the way to the limits of being legal, so that I actually build the muscles associated with that and then see how it feels and see how my shoulders handle it. And then I can test back and forth, even though I know that I'm probably going to be better at close grip. I just need to get my close grip back up past 350 again, work towards my goals, and assume that I'm probably going to hit my goal for the year. The only way it's going to happen is on close grip, right? I can make that assumption. But it doesn't mean I'll completely abandon all wide grip training, so there's some misunderstanding there. I might mess with some just for the hypertrophy involved with the wider grip so that I can come in and test the maxes. But I'm going to gear 80% of my training towards just getting really strong at close grip, which means I'm going to work on close grip incline, we're going to work on overhead pressing, we're going to do a lot of tricep work, right? That's going to be the name of the game. So even my speed work, I'm going to do it close grip because I'm faster on close grip. All right, even when I was doing only wide grip and I test the different grips as we rotate through, because it's standard on speed work to go run 3 different grips on every session. I've always been fastest on the closer grip, just like my maxes have always been better on close grip. So for now, just to get the most out of the speed work, so again, to get the most force generation, I'm going to do closer grip. And most of my movements, I'm going to do closer grips in general, even for back and everything, because we're moving weights through a longer range of motion. It's more work. I'm focusing really hard on body composition right now. And again, I'm having to build my overhead mobility. That's one thing people point out. Well, you're doing partials on some of your overhead type stuff, whether it's pull-ups, chin-ups, overhead press. It's not partials. It's the farthest I can move. I'm trying to go further. I'm working on mobility, and since I found that the dead hangs are the best thing I've ever done for my shoulder health after that impingement, I'm hoping the dead hangs will help. And a few days ago, I realized that my shoulder health is now good enough that I can do really narrow on the dead hangs. I had been doing them outside shoulder width. And when I started doing them really narrow, that's when I noticed I could come in and I could now squat with the bar on my back pain-free. I can now overhead press as of today pain-free. I have no pain. Okay, I am hoping that as I do dead hangs every day with my hands even closer inside of shoulder width, that's going to improve my overhead press mobility, my chin-up mobility, all that stuff at the top where I can't quite get the range of motion. I'm hoping it's going to improve it. And I think it will, as long as I keep doing it consistently over time. Because if that doesn't do it, then nothing will, and then we need to just not worry about it. But the thing is, even all this speed work, I can move it faster, more explosively, and it's a longer range of motion. That's just what I'm going to do. The same thing comes up on, well, why do your incline close grip? Because it's harder and it's a longer range of motion. Now, I'm surprised how much weaker I am on incline when I go to a close grip versus a wide. Because on my flat bench, I'm way stronger with a close grip. I go to the incline, I'm way stronger or way weaker with a close grip. But the chest pump is phenomenal. So you guys will notice today on the pull-ups, I'm using a shoulder width grip instead of outside shoulder width. Going right at shoulder width, and I'm trying to drop down. If you guys notice, I'm not controlling the eccentrics very much. So if people think that I'm short stroking the bottom, notice I'm not controlling the eccentric that much. The first rep, there's from a dead hang, and on every set, the very last rep, I try to go to a dead hang and pause for a second. That's what my overhead mobility is. That's just as far as my shoulders go. So I'm trying to push the limits of what my joint will actually do under loaded conditions, right? So, I mean, if a lot of people will say, well, that looks like a partial, but you guys are watching me drop into a hang on the last rep, right? It's much less work for me to just drop into a hang than it would be to hold it a couple inches above the bottom. So I'm really just working on improving that range of motion. But I have long arms, and because we're doing closer grips and all this stuff, I'm moving my body a longer distance. So we're getting more work in. So people said, why don't you weight these? Well, because of my current body weight, these are pretty challenging doing the reps I'm doing without any weight added. I'd really like to get all those pull-ups and chin-ups to where I do 10 reps on all the sets before I add any weight. And I'm doing 8s there, and the 8s feel like I have maybe a rep in reserve. So once I can get up to 10, and I have a feeling if I keep getting stronger at chin-ups and pull-ups, because I used to do 10 sets of 10 on chin-ups. Yeah, back when I was doing the experiment where I was doing chins every day, I was doing 10 sets of 10. And I was pretty similar body weight to what I am now. So I can regain that strength. And then once we get to where I can do 10s, I'll start adding 5 pounds. All right. But I always do the chin-ups later in the session than the pull-ups because pull-ups are harder and then it fatigues me, and the chin-ups end up being a very similar performance. Incline, I went with the same weight. I thought I was going to come in and knock out 10s with the 185 last time, just compared to my wider grip. I thought it was going to be easy, and I couldn't. I did like 6, 5, and 5. Today I went with the same weight, and I'm going to just work with this weight. I'm going to work with this weight and bring the reps up, which I did today. I did 7, 7, and then I managed to get 8 on the last set. So we'll get this up to 10, and once we can do 10s, we'll increase the weight. Because that's usually my goals is for most of my movements. I'm trying to work towards 10, but some of these things, the weights I've messed with them not quite at 10 reps. And that's okay. We'll get there. And if I gain strength at all on all this stuff while I'm cutting, which again, I think we'll see it because of muscle memory and working these new angles again. And because I got my diet dialed in pretty good, my recovery dialed in pretty good, I'm going to try to see if I can recomp a little bit while cutting. Continue to bring the scale weight down. Now, before people say that's not possible, that's contrary to your message. No, it's not contrary to my message. I'm just not saying everything. So, not contrary at all. I'm just saying a lot of you won't be able to do it because of life choices you've made. And that's okay. We make different choices in life. But we got 8 on that one. So that means I have a feeling maybe by next week we might be able to get 10. Right? If not, we'll get 9. Chins. I went with, again, shoulder width also. Trying to bring these in closer because, again, if my mobility is part of the issue, I still need to find ways to increase the range of motion. It's also really easy on your shoulders. All these movements are so much easier on your shoulders when we do shoulder width grips. Barely closer. So all the pressing, all the pulling. Again, I'm worried about keeping my shoulder health on point. I finally have pain-free shoulders being able to do these things. I want to maintain that. But we also have a longer range of motion. We're doing more work per rep, so more muscle build. Now the chins with this grip, you guys notice it's really a difference at the bottom. Like I really struggle to get to the bottom. And I actually pause and hang on every rep for just a 1 count on each one when I get to the last rep and I know, hey, I'm only going to try to get 1 more rep. And you guys notice I'm still not fully extended at the bottom. That's my range of motion. I will continue to work on it. I am hoping as I build strength on these movements and I continue to do the dead hangs that it will improve. I'm hoping that it will. But even then, so how do we improve mobility? Well, we need to get stronger near the terminal ends of the range of motion. So if I go to the range of motion that I have and take sets close to failure under loading and try to stretch the last little bit, then we will improve it, hopefully. But that's the only way to build it. And I'll keep working on it. Overhead pressing, we'll see the same thing. Because again, it's what happens. But I decided to do 135. I haven't been overhead pressing. I'm like, let me try it again. It felt good with the empty bar. Threw 135 on. Managed to get sets of 5s. I mean, I'd like to get more. When I was doing a lot of overhead pressing, I think I've done up to 12 rep sets with this weight. They weren't paused, though. I'm going to pause everything now. So you guys will notice the last rep on that set, I didn't lock it at all. And it's because I pretty much hit failure. The second set, I came in and I got 5, and I felt like I had a rep in reserve. So I'm like, I'm going to M-rep the last set. So I came in and I couldn't lock the 5th rep either. It just failed 2/3 of the way up on the last set also. So we'll work with this weight. We'll work with this weight and we'll build it up. I'm going to try to just get stronger with this weight. Do the reps that I can do. Trying to get my position perfect at the bottom. Again, my shoulder mobility doesn't allow for the best lockout at the top. But again, how do we build it? Well, we have to just keep applying resistance. And again, I think the dead hangs combining with trying to stretch the best I can on the pull-ups and chin-ups is all we can hope for there. But it doesn't mean we don't train movements. You'll get people who'll say silly stuff like, well, why would we bother to train a movement then in that case? Because the movement still has merit. Just because we have joint limitations at certain points of a range of motion, if we do our best to get the range of motion as long as possible, in this case, I'm touching my chest. I'm pausing on the chest on every rep. I'm doing a closer grip, so I'm having to move the weight a further distance. I'm going to make up for that. I'm going to make up for the fact that I don't have great overhead mobility. In fact, I have horrible overhead mobility. I can admit that. I'll make up for it by trying to make the exercises the longest range of motion possible, in spite of it. On the rows today, I had said last time I might drop back down to 10 pounds lighter because I'm so much cleaner on my form and can get 10 plus reps. But I don't want to use those calibrated plates. I started looking at it, the amount of small plates I was going to have to stack on here. I'm like, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to stick with these 2 big reds, get my 8 rep sets, and we'll just build strength with this. Because yeah, my reps are really clean when I drop 10 pounds lighter, and I can get 10 to 12. And it's just funny how that 10 pounds difference seems to require more body English. And again, I'm failing at rep 8. And also it's because I'm really fatigued. I'm doing pull-ups and chin-ups before this. But, I'm just going to stick with this weight. I'm going to be stubborn like that. Mainly because I don't want to start putting my calibrated plates back on and drop them on the ground every time. They're expensive. The prices have gone up on them since I bought mine. I'm looking at them the other day at the Rogue site thinking about buying more. And they want more for them than when I bought the 10 that I have. It's like, are you guys serious? Highway robbery. But yeah, I don't want to ruin them. And then I didn't want to stack all the small plates. I'm like, I'll just work with the 265. It's fine. I'll build up to 10 reps with this. I'll get there just like I'll get up to 10s with those pull-ups and chin-ups and add weight. I'll get up to 10s with this weight. Just going to take a little bit of work. But yes, you guys notice I'm doing a lot of pulling. So much so that I've realized I don't need curls because I decided to do high pulls also in here. All right, that's a lot of bicep work. I don't need to worry about curls right now. I don't care. I need to worry about my triceps. So I said last time on the JM presses, I did not like my form when I went up to 85 pounds relative to what J.M. Blakely teaches on his tutorial. I dropped back down to 75 and I got 12s. Actually, I got 13 on the last set pretty easily. I'm much happier with my form. Notice my elbows do not really drop below the body. I'm keeping them as high as I can. My triceps were crushed. And that's the other thing. It's like I was thinking I could come in and do more than 3 sets, but then I realized I did so much other pressing because I'm doing 3 big presses now. Right? I'm doing 3 big presses, whether it's max day or speed day. So if I add the overhead work, we're getting 3 big presses for my triceps. They're kind of fatigued. So I need to just get quality, 3 really good quality sets on the JM press. And yeah, I feel like this weight is ridiculously light, but it's allowing me to use the correct form. My triceps feel every single rep. My shoulders don't. That's what we want. So I'm going to work with it. And as Blakely says, you can eventually use really heavy weight. All right, I'm going to work with these. And I used to do a lot of weight doing them the wrong way. Because you see me do up to 195 for 6. Doing it the wrong way. Really, it's just a close grip press to the neck. So I'm going to do them the right way. And yeah, that's going to require me to use little baby weights. And I get that with my clients too when I have them do. They try to throw weight on. I'm like, do I go to the empty bar? You're not strong enough to put plates on. Because they'll be dropping down to pretty much a close grip press. And I have a couple like that. They're not advanced lifters. And we've worked these in for them. And I have to have them go to the empty bar. But I mean perspective. Look at what I have to use right now to keep good form. So there's no shame in going to an empty bar on a lift like this if that's what you have to do it correctly. And again, my triceps should come back up. My triceps, I did notice looking at some older footage, my triceps are smaller. They have gotten smaller because I haven't been doing all this really heavy stuff, all the close grip pressing and a lot of the JM presses and stuff I had been doing. They'll come back up though. That's the beauty of it. It's muscle memory. So we finished off with hang pulls. And I lost my balance on the first set. I know people will be like, oh, started pulling forward. Keep in mind, as I've said before, I do have Meniere's disease, and I have in the burnout phase. I don't really have a sense of balance. And I actually banning stupid ass trolls, by the way, for those of you who come in and you guys make jokes about it. I will ban you. I don't care. It doesn't get to me. It's just that you guys are stupid. And I just have a low tolerance for stupidity. I've been doing YouTube for 9 years now. I've gotten to where I just have no tolerance for trolling or stupidity. It's not that it gets to me. It doesn't get under my skin. It's just so stupid I don't want it there. And I would rather just ban than bother to see it. So, again, don't take it personal, guys. I'm not even taking it personal. I just don't like the stupidity on my channel anymore. I can't stand it. I've seen it for too many years, guys. I'm starting to turn into that get off my lawn old man. So I just don't like humor. I don't like jokes. I don't like stupidity. I don't like bullshit in my comments. I just hit the ban button these days and move on. But I stuck with the same weight I did on rows. These fives felt good. This finished off my entire shoulder girdle, in addition to all the shoulder work I'm already doing with a good explosive movement. And I'll talk about this lift more later as to why I'm doing it the way I do it. But really happy with today's training session. Shoulder is pain-free yet again. Happy about that. So I hope it's been informative. And I will talk to you guys next time.